Hello all of you dice-rolling, armor-saving legends, Jules Gill here for LiveAndLetsDice. And I don't know about you, but sometimes the constant war of the 41st millennium can get a bit grim, and it's easy to feel bogged down by all of the dangerous terrain and line-of-sight blocking monuments from past civilizations. Which is why it gives me great pleasure to say that, thanks to the lovely people at Games Workshop, we have a new game today that's going to allow us to jet up into the skies and take on foes in aerial dogfights with the box starter set that is Aeronautica Imperialis, Wings of Vengeance. Which kind of sounds like when you get the runs from eating spicy chicken. Anyway, let's begin by detailing what you get in the box. The starter set includes two forces, the Imperial Navy and the Orc Air War. Each of these is a kind of sample selection of the wide range of other planes that Games Workshop is releasing alongside this product. Fighter jets that you get in the game are quicker and pack a punch, but the bombers, well, they're more durable and can drop massive payloads onto ground targets. You also get the required rulebook, tokens and playmat, basically everything that you need to get stuck into a dogfight quick sharp, which is clearly the aim of this starter box. No frills, just thrills. And talk about beautiful models. As is pretty much expected at this stage, Games Workshop have delivered air squadrons that feel minute yet detailed. But special praise has to go to the bases of the model, which have actually been built to show the front and rear arcs of the planes, as well as including dials that can be changed for the altitude and speed. Now, this attempt at minimizing the clutter on the board itself is something that is a really good example of foresight. It is a slight shame, therefore, that there are two areas that seem to be a little lacking, namely the absence of reference cards and a rather lackluster playmat. I say this because reference cards would have sped up the game so much more and have been included in other starter boxed games. The playmat is just a personal experience, but I was expecting tiles or at least something a bit thicker because I feel like this paper might get ripped fairly soon. Small gripes, yes, but when talking about a starter set, I just want to voice my concerns on this. So that's the nuts and bolts and wings and propellers of the box contents. How does the game actually play? Well, it's kind of reminiscent of Speed Freaks in the way that you select your maneuvers secretly and then reveal them one by one, meaning that things can get extremely chaotic in the air very quickly. Then, once the movements have been made, it's time to do what every 40k player does best: shoot. Or in my case, a ton of shots that miss, and then you curse your parents for bringing you into this world of ones and twos, and then you cry yourself to sleep while hugging your Lehman Russ body pillow. Just me? Good. Well, actually, the shooting aspect of this game is the one that's probably had the most thought put into it, as it is always a 5 to hit another plane, showcasing the difficulty of aerial combat. However, you get modifiers depending on whether your target is on the same altitude level or stalling. Some guns can only fire above them, others can only be fired when you're above your opponent, and so on, meaning that there's even more to consider before you even think about rolling a dice. Then on top of that, you have to consider weapon ranges that might allow you to roll more or less dice depending on how close you are to your target. And you might even be traveling too quick and your plane might break up or stall when it's going too slow. Honestly, my head was just spinning just watching this game, let alone playing it. But it's that micromanaging aspect of this title that will truly appeal to those armchair sky captains. Again, with easy-to-access reference cards, maybe things would be a bit simpler, but once you wrap your head around this, it can become an extremely quick back-and-forth affair. In fact, a game that actually has a lot of comparisons with this, I'd say is probably the X-Wing Miniatures game, what with all of its intense tactical maneuvering, and that game's amazing as well. Plus, you can't say it wasn't an absolute hoot to pretend to be a plane and just make all of the relevant noises or pretend like you're in a World War I documentary. I know that's what I did.
Looks like old Greeny's on the run here. Show him the meaning of Imperial might. What have you?
Now here's the thing. The Starter Kit Rulebook does give you options on setting up other scenarios, such as targeting objectives on the ground and also about gun batteries that can shoot from land to air. But unfortunately, because the models aren't provided in this starter set, you'll be limited to just the Dogfight Mission scenario. This is a very fun scenario which sees downed planes translate to points at the end of 12 rounds, which will determine a victor, and even allows for points denial, much like Lawson did in our playthrough when he literally just ran away and denied Mikey the points. And I like that scum tactics. All in all, Aeronautica is a well-produced and extremely well-thought-out game, just maybe not with all the bells and whistles that one would like to see. Now, I understand that this is a starter set, and it definitely did pique my interest, but as a niche game in a niche market, I was hoping for a little more content to really get my heart soaring. If you get your joy from well-executed tactical plans that come about from careful studying of your plane's detailed mechanics, then this game is most certainly for you. However, if you want to get the most out of this game, you will need the extra models and boards and, like I said, the ground batteries that GW is selling separately. An obvious statement, I know, but I still have to temper expectations for those going in. For those reasons alone, I'm giving the starter kit a solid 3.5 out of 5. There is a great game here, but if you just get the starter kit, you might find that you burn through it all very, very quickly. I love the combat, I just wanted more of it. Like I said, AI is not a bad game at all, but I do think that the starter set feels like it's missing something. True, it does give you a taster session, but you're only really going to get the full joy out of this game if you buy a lot of accompanying models. That can't really be said for Age of Sigmar and 40k, because at least you get the base game there that is accentuated by other models. Here it feels like you've kind of got stuff locked off from you, which I'm not sure. It might be fine for some people because, again, it does mean a lower price point for this title, but for others, they might see it as maybe putting them off because they're not getting the full experience. And those are my thoughts on Aeronautica Imperialis. I hope that you enjoyed that, my friends, and let me know down below whether or not you're thinking about picking up this game yourself, and if you've already played it, how have you been finding it? Are there any juicy tactics that you'd like to share with the rest of the crowd, or are you going to be keeping them mum's the word? That didn't really work, but you know what I mean. As always, you can go follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter, and remember, my friends, to live and let's dice.